But we can't, because today we have important business.
Yeah, there's relationships out there failing, Brandon. They're failing as we speak, and they've come to help for us. They've come to us for help.
Hey, beautiful people. You know what this week is? Another Tank Talk. I'm Brandon.
I think I just spit some out my nose. Hey, everybody. My name's Keith.
And you know my name because I just said it a while ago.
And you may or may not have met this little fella yet. His name is Leonard. He's a pig with a heart collar. And so he's on this episode because we're talking about
This video
we're talking about
will come out before we put out the other one, so maybe you should give the story of Leonard.
Okay, this is Leonard. He is a pig that was given to me by Zach Patton. You may know him by the long red-haired fellow on our videos. He's a sweet man, and he is a friend of mine, and he has proved it this time by buying me this pig.
We could have made a video where you said, you know this guy, then just showed 20 minutes of Zach Patton clips. But we can't, because today we have important business.
Yeah, there's relationships out there failing, Brandon. They're failing as we speak, and they've come to help for us. They've come to us for help.
So, Valentine's Day is this week. And the thing about Valentine's Day week is two things usually happen. A lot of things happen.
Oh.
But two things that I've noticed is, number one, a lot of times people go, oh, it's Valentine's Day, I need a date. So you just go and grab someone. Or Valentine's Day is the one time a year that someone treats their husband or wife, boyfriend or girlfriend to something romantic, which kind of sucks because it's just, well, I haven't been a good partner the rest of the year, but man.
Are you talking about me, Brandon?
I am Keith. This is an intervention.
No, I try to treat you like that.
But this week, we're taking a different little approach to Tank Talks. Keith and I are going to dump some of the wisdom we've received in the years of failing and succeeding at relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. We failed. We've succeeded. I've certainly succeeded. I'm happily married for almost, a year and a half now. Getting close. No, a year and 4 months. Brandon will soon be happily married if he can get to that wedding day. And Leonard here has like 8 hearts on his collar, so he's obviously had love.
So I guess the first thing is this kind of is pre-relationship. All these other ones are in relationship. This is pre-relationship.
Our first advice episode.
Exactly. The first one on their list is dating with purpose. Instead of just looking at someone and thinking they're cute and I should date them, like actually get to know someone. Because a lot of times I watch people and it's like friends, co-workers, or whatever, where they'll look at someone and they'll think, oh, I should date that person. But they haven't taken the time to see, well, what is it about that person? A lot of times it's just, oh, that person's funny, or that person, he has nice hair, she has like nice hair, or whatever. Instead of actually thinking like, oh, well, like, what does that person believe deep down? Because the goal of a relationship should be to eventually get married. Hopefully and eventually that spills over to children for most people.
For most people. Now, of course, there are different progressive ways to look at relationships and stuff, and we're not going to impose that upon you out there, but this is our experience. This is what we believe the right way to go about it is.
And now it's also kind of difficult to just look at someone and say, all right, now let me spend 5 years getting to know this person before I can date them.
Right.
But it should be with that in mind to where, okay, the goal is to like eventually marry someone I date, then, okay, it should go deeper than, oh, they got some nice jokes. It should be okay. If I
thought you were gonna say nice jokes, Brandon.
I'm
glad you didn't.
It did not.
You said jokes. It's a phrase you don't normally hear. They got some nice jokes.
That's what I say all the time.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Don't think about that other way. That's shallow.
So that's our first advice: is date with purpose.
Absolutely. I think the best way to put it is, if you are a person who wants to be married one day, you ought to date with that in mind. If you're not a person who feels that way, go hog wild, do whatever you want to do. But if you are a person that wants to be married, you really ought to be entering relationships with that idea in mind. That I do one day want to get married, and don't waste your time, with stuff that is not going to turn out well in that regard.
The next thing on the list is don't be afraid to fail. In a relationship, you're going to fail. Even if you care about someone, you're going to fail because you're human. And they're going to fail you even if they love you. So don't get caught up in, okay, I have to be perfect, because you're not gonna be perfect. They're not gonna be perfect. And once you start understanding that, you can really start truly loving someone when
Absolutely.
you know, okay, they're gonna fail me, I'm gonna fail them, instead of just worrying, well, one day I'm gonna say something wrong, they're gonna leave me.
Yeah.
Instead, you're building on, we're both imperfect, and now we can really start getting serious about this.
Lizzie and I have failed many times in our relationships. There have been points where our failures almost decided that we would not be in a relationship. You know, we decided to power through, and because we've done that, we are, you know, happier and healthier, and we are enjoying married life and loving one another. So yeah, power. If you can power through those failures, if it makes sense to, but of course if it doesn't make sense to, if there's abuse involved, or if there's any other reason why you shouldn't power through those failures whenever they come, don't. That's not a my prescription is not an end all be all, but absolutely, yeah, things. It's not always going to be perfect. You hear this all the time, but we'll reiterate it as your friendly mid-20-year-old buddies on the internet.
Now the next one, I'm reading most of these off because we just have a subject line, and some of these are very confusing because they are like a undeciphered code.
They are. Brandon has good handwriting.
The next one is be your partner's biggest fan. And I picked up on this idea from reading Donald Miller's book, 1,000,000 Miles in 1,000 Years. I always get the numbers mixed up.
Okay.
But if you just look up Donald Miller, or Keith might put the picture of the book right here, or he might not. But just know Donald Miller, if you just Donald Miller, 1,000 million, the book should come up. But in there he's talking about like what makes a good story and how that spills over to your life. Like, what were you doing to make a good story of your life? He talks about how a guy put it in terms of, there's so many guys out there that if you asked about like Tom Brady, they could tell you everything about Tom Brady, like all of his stats, like his best games, where he went to college, what he's like as a person. They could just spend like all this time telling you all these facts. But if you ask them something about their wife, they'd be like, oh, I think she has blonde hair. I think she lives here. Like, they don't know anything.
I think she lives in my house.
About her. And he was like, the way I see it is, for my wife, I want to be her biggest fan. And after I read that, it was really cool to start treating it as like, oh, I want to be Jordan's fan. I want to know how her day is. I don't want to ask her just because, well, a guy I got to ask. I want to know, oh, well, how are you doing? Like, what are your struggles? What are all the facts about you? And in return, it's pretty cool knowing that someone is your fan, so they're really interested in just the little things you're doing. So just treat be your partner's biggest fan.
Of course, I have to agree. There's some times where, there's also we'll segue into your next point, which is written down to you're different, and that's okay. Because sometimes, whenever it comes to being a fan, that doesn't mean you have to like everything. Lizzie's going to law school. I don't enjoy that information. I don't really care very much about, law books. I don't care a whole lot about different sort of case law and everything. But I know Lizzie loves it. And so whenever she talks about it, I ask about it, and I try to be genuinely interested, and I try to understand what she's doing. But I don't have to become a lawyer myself. I just, need to be interested and cheer her on as she does this thing that I don't particularly care for. So I think it is important. I think that's something that we try to do. Like, she does not care for video games. I know that if I'm going to sit there and gush about a video game, I'd really better talk about that with Will from Game Talks or whatever than I would Lizzie, because she'll try. But I'm not going to force her to go through like an hour and a half of me discussing my plights in Bloodborne or whatever, because she doesn't care. I'm not going to try to make her force herself to be interested. So absolutely be one another's biggest fans, but also realize that you are indeed different, and that is quite all right.
I think you put that very well, Keith.
You want to move past it being different? Or you want to say,
go ahead and go to our next one.
Okay, I think it is important, and one thing Lizzie and I have learned is to compromise. Tank media is a good point, an example for that. There are times when you are going to want to do things that are going to take up a lot of time, or don't involve your significant other or whatever. And we speak in terms of husband to wife and wife to husband or whatever. But of course, we know there are other kinds of relationships out there. That's just our experience. So we don't want anyone to think we're alienating. We feel like this advice kind of crosses those different types of boundaries, hopefully in most places. But there will be different things about you that you want to do, like take media. I would love to every day be able to come sit in here with Brandon and talk about stuff all day, every day. I would love to do that. Come home at night, have dinner, and hang out with Lizzie, and that'd be life. That'd be great. But of course, I can't do that, or even on the weekends, I can't do that. Sometimes there are things that Lizzie wants to do, and that's perfectly fine. I have to sacrifice some things that I want to do so she can do some things she wants to do, and she in turn does the same thing for me. She'll sacrifice some time where I'm helping her out with something for me to be able to come and do this for a little while or whatever. So we try to keep a balance so everybody can stay happy. People tend to think that I have to be happy. I have to be happy all the time, and if I'm not happy all the time, if I'm not doing what I want to do all the time, it's not the right relationship. But Brandon, I don't know if that's your experience, but I don't think that's the real world. You can be happy all the time, but you can't always be doing exactly what you want to do all the time because you're with another person, and that person wants some different things than you. So you can be happy all the time, but sometimes your happiness will have to come from them being happy doing what they're doing, etc. So compromise is what I'm trying to say. If there's a decision to be made, compromise.
I think a little side note on compromise too is communication. And that's said by like everyone, but it's not really taken to heart. Yeah. And as a communication major, like at school, it was really cool to learn, there's way more communication than just what you're saying. It's how you're saying. It's like, what do you really want to say? How are you going to convey that and all? And there's so many arguments that are started because it's just not communicating. So if you're communicating well, it helps a lot of these issues, just like the whole compromise.
Absolutely.
It helps that way you don't have a bitterness of, I want to do my thing, but they can't do their thing. And you start realizing, well, they've sacrificed a lot for me. Or like, it's you making sure like, hey, like, don't feel guilty. I want you to go like, enjoy time with your day. I'll do these chores. Sure. Or I'll go with you to this thing. It doesn't matter if I don't like it. You like it. Therefore, I'll it helps your relationship if there is communication in there.
Communication should have been a really big point by itself because that's super, super important. Also, for those of you out there who are blessed like I am to be with someone who doesn't particularly care for talking about their feelings, we're kind of reversed. Like if something's going on with me, I want to talk about it, and I probably want to talk about it too much. But Lizzie's like, no, I'd rather just deal with this myself. But we found that if I can push her beyond that, and if we can at least talk about it a little bit, we tend to be to be able to get through these things. Because a lot of times, cold shouldering never really works. Yeah. But communication is key from your friendly neighborhood boys.
What's that final one you got on there, Keith?
The final one I have is put the other person first. If both of you are putting the other person first, then everybody ought to be happy. If I before I even consider my own needs, consider the needs of my wife or the needs of my girlfriend or the needs of my boyfriend or whoever, whatever. If I consider them first and I make a culture of that in our relationship, and they follow suit, that's going to be a happy relationship right there. As long as you're attracted to one another and everything else. If you're putting each other first, that's going to be good to go. If you find that you're with someone who you put first but does not put you first, time to communicate, time to evaluate. And if you find that if you realize that you're a person that's not putting someone first, and you realize that you're being worshipped from the other side, time to communicate, time to evaluate, time to resonate.
I hope that some of these, I hope all of these have been able to help you in your relationship, or as you're thinking about getting into a relationship. It's just the little things in life, like those little moments where you get to spend time with someone, maybe give them a little foot massage, maybe give them a word of encouragement. Maybe give them a tank drink.
I knew you were heading that way. Hey, let us know. This is way out of character for us. We have never done an advice episode before. We have never really considered doing one of those until today. We know that we're 25, 26-year-old dudes that, I've been married for less than 2 years. Brandon's not married yet.
And we know we're experts.
My point is thusly that we know that we're not gurus. We know you haven't climbed the mountain and talked to the oracle, but maybe we are a little bit down-to-earth dudes that are a little bit more like you, that walk the trenches and been there and done that or whatever. Maybe you will enjoy listening to this, or maybe you're one of our peers that, just would like to hear us talk about this kind of thing. I don't know. But if you like this type of thing, advice episodes and us telling you what we think, please let us know. Please let us know so we can do it again. And if you do like it, make sure you comment what kind of advice you want to hear next.
Keith, this week's video is Zero Sugar Kool-Aid Sour on the go, Shockin' Blue Raspberry.
Alright, let me tell you something. Let me ask a question to the audience. Why the heck, of all flavors of beverage, would you want a sour drink? Sour candy? Go wild. Sour this, sour that, absolutely, but sour drink? Why? Why, Lord?
This one's got 5 calories and 0 carbohydrates,
Nice.
as well as 0 sugar. It does not have any genetic modifications.
Wonderful, that's wonderful to me. I'm so happy.
Alright, let's give it a little clink and let's drink.
Ooh! It is sour.
I don't know if it's the raspberry
okay?
hits you, and then the shocking hits you afterwards.
That is wow sour.
I'm gonna give an oh no on this one.
I don't think it's as bad as the root beer we had. Well, never mind.
You mean that one that we're gonna drink maybe a month or two?
I'm not good at making TV, Brandon. Sometimes we record stuff that doesn't gonna come out till after the stuff we haven't recorded yet, and I don't understand TV.
They're gonna hear that other one about the story about the pig, and they're like, Keith really loves that pig.
Yeah, he love that pig. I do love this pig. He's sweet. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. That was a real good y'all, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Please be sure to do the things that we asked you to do. I asked you to do a moment ago, like commenting, tell us if you like this type of video. Stick around. Check out the channel. We got all kinds of stuff going on. Go over to Tank Media Games. If you're someone who doesn't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend and you thought we were going to tell you how, and you're still here and you'd just like rather play video games all night, go over to Tank Media Games. We play games over there. Dungeons and Dragons, Game Talks, all kinds of stuff. But in the meantime, do all those things, and remember, Brandon, how do we feel about them?
We love you very much. You can pick up the shirt too on website.
Oh yeah! We're not done yet, because you need to go to shop.spreadshirt.com/tankmedianetwork and check out our merchandise. You can get a Tank Media logo tee. You can get a Tank Media Games tee. You can get an I Love You Very Much hat.
What I've heard from people too is that it's very good quality.
Really? Who else bought?
There's been a handful of people that have bought.
Wonderful. Well, please go buy some merchandise. We love you very much.